Good morning and welcome to this innovative talk. I'm Roberto Sandulli, professor here at Laguna University. It's my honor and privilege to be here as a chair for today's session. Actually, I'm going to try to be shorter because the food is coming. I think all of us, we are starving. Now we're embarked on a journey into the future of our industry with a focus on a very important and forward-thinking topic, the Horizon 2050. Horizon 2050 is just not a speculative projection, but a strategic blueprint that will shape and redefine the travel and tourism sector. So, without further delay, let's introduce our panelists. So we have Alicia Fajardo. Alicia is a tourism expert and strategist with 2 decades of experience in the tourism and travel sector. She leverages her expertise to foster sustainable tourist policies, projects, and public strategies on an international scale, with a significant experience working with European destinations. As a sustainable tourism specialist at the Travel Foundation, Alicia conducts comprehensive destination research, designs strategic roadmaps, and leads capacity building workshops. She has delivered impactful projects, including partnership with major players like EasyJet Holidays and Everstar, and climate action planning for European organizations like Nextour and European Travel Commission. Then we have Antonio Santos, president of the Tourism Society think tank. He has been working in the field of culture, education, and tourism for more than 30 years, beginning in 1992. He contributed to the development and promotion of Expo 92 and the Barcelona Olympic Games closing ceremony. From 94 to 96, he advised Minister Carmen Alborg on cultural issues and worked with the Ibero-American Cooperation Platform. And from 2010 to 2022, he has been a member of the board of the Affiliated Members Program of the World Tourism Organization and one of the United Nations expert panel. As well as that, since 2016, he has directed the Global Shopping Tourism Network and contributed to initiatives like Tourist Passport and the digitalization of the tourism industry. And last but not least, we have the Professor Dimitrios Buhalis. He's director of the Air Tourism Lab and deputy director of International Center for Tourism and Hospitality Research at Bournemouth University Business School in UK. He is a strategic management and marketing expert with specialization in information communication technology application in the tourism, travel, hospitality, and leisure industries. He is the editor-in-chief of Tourist Review and the editor-in-chief of the Encyclopedia on Tourism Management and Marketing. Professor Buhalis has authored over 25 books and 400 articles, recognized as the highly cited researcher by Clarivate, and he's among the Stanford top 2 of scientists. About citation, Google Scholar, he ranks the 2nd position in tourism, 1st in hospitality, with more than 75,000 citations and 116 with H index. Professor Buhalis, as well as that, he collaborates with the United Nations World Tourism Organization and the World Bank. And you want further information, he has also a website, buhalis.com. So let's start with Alicia.
¿Sí? ¿Funciona? Sí. Okay. Thank you, Roberto, and thank you, everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here today, and I really thank the organization for the opportunity to be part of this discussion today. Well, our topic is not easy. It's tourism in the 2050 horizon, which is, wow, what it will be. And I would like to start the discussion about this future of tourism by sharing some thoughts, and interestingly, very much linked with the previous discussion about the success in tourism, because, well, certainly it's not easy to envision the future of the tourism industry in 2050, and it sounds like a thing of science fiction, especially when considering, on the one hand, the planetary crisis that we are going through, and on which we need to focus on and find solutions for our own existence. And on the other hand, we cannot forget about the context of the challenges that many destinations are facing, especially since we resumed the activity after COVID stronger than ever. And destinations also should be prepared to manage the foreseen scenario of continuous growth in the future. But even if it's not easy to envision this future scenario, the only sure thing that we have is that tourism in the 2050 year will be what we want it to be. And we assume that everyone in this room and anyone working in the tourism sector will want to have a very beautiful industry and thriving, and an industry that makes everyone happy and capable to reduce the negative impacts to the minimum. And that's a thing. And actually, it would be crazy to talk about tourism in the future without looking at the present. And let's be honest, the exponential growth of the tourism industry during the last decades has posed many challenges for many destinations around the world. And tourism brings economic benefits, yes, but at what cost? And it's absolutely okay to recognize that our destination at some point is not perfect, and that in this pathway of growth we can find issues with waste management, with water availability, with economic dependency, or community satisfaction with the tourism. Because, let's be clear, tourism has many hidden costs that traditionally haven't been accounted for. And as we already showed in our report, the invisible burden of tourism. And in many cases, we have far surpassed many of the limits of the resources that sustain the places. The most important thing here is that we, as a destination, we are capable to recognize early warning signs and put measures in place to change the course of these challenges. It is all about going into the problems rather than getting away from them. So how do we change this course? And how do we all work together with a mission to build a flourishing industry in 2050 or even earlier? As we gather together these days to set the state of the art of tourism, we need to ask many questions, and questions that may be a bit uncomfortable for some. But one way or another, we need to rethink the value of that tourism brings to the places where the activity takes place. And in this rethinking scenario, the first question we should be asking ourselves is, why do we want tourism? What is the value that tourism brings to our community? Is it economic benefits? Then let's look honestly at where this money goes and to the net benefit that the industry brings to our place. Is it jobs? Then let's have a look at the quality of this employment and how residents can benefit from this, to what extent they have the opportunity to develop skills, and to what extent they are proud of hosting and sharing the uniqueness of their place. Is it protection of the very resources that sustain the place? Then let's check what is the current status of the assets of the place, or let's check the status of biodiversity. And is it well-being for local communities thanks to the development of public services or infrastructure? Then let's check how happy they are with tourism happening in the places they build and they take care of during the whole year. But even if we all want the same kind of thing, of course, no one wants the tourism industry to destroy places. Success in tourism is sometimes understood in different ways and with different approaches. And in this point is what we are trying to get an agreement, which is not easy. And we are working with many destinations and tourism stakeholders with the aim of building a common vision, a shared common vision of tourism, bringing the best value for communities. We are helping to understand what the main challenges of tourism are, how interconnected they are, and why they are happening in a place, And we also help to identify key leverage points to unlock a more regenerative development of tourism. And going into practice, we put this into our projects with our tool called the Optimal Value Framework. And this is a strategic approach that can be used to help destination stakeholders work together to understand and optimize the value of tourism for their community, agree on more balanced measures of success, and prioritize the most important impact areas for them to manage carefully. This framework helps identify the strategic levers that increase the benefits and minimize the cost or negative impacts of tourism to the destination. These impacts can be mapped to the donor destination, a model which helps us to see the balance needed in tourism. There is a safe space for destination development where tourism is sustainable. When limits are exceeded, like in this example with the greenhouse gas emissions shown in red or waste near the threshold in orange, we enter a danger zone. In the center, the red area indicates where there's a lack of resources or shortfall. Any economy at risk is at risk when moving out of the safe zone. By analyzing available data, the framework can tell us how in balance or out of balance the destination is and point out for opportunities for shifts. We have applied this framework to some destinations, and some examples are Lake Tahoe and Valle in the United States, and we have helped them to optimize the value of tourism and bring the findings to the strategic planning for the destination, very much focused on a destination stewardship approach. But we are not only working with destinations, we are also working with the private sector, and we are helping companies such as EasyJet Holidays or very recently Iberostar. We are helping them to understand, on the one hand, the limits for their operations in some destinations, and one of them was precisely Tenerife, and on the other hand, to explore how they can not only reduce the negative impact of their operations, but also bring back to the community and support the regeneration of the place. This was very briefly one of the examples, and I know that we are very limited on time, and this was one of the examples I wanted to bring and share with you all today, but we at the Trial Foundation, we are also working on other topics, such as equity and climate action in tourism, and you can find all the information on our website, as well as the full information of these projects that I share with you. And I really encourage you to visit the website and check what we do. But for today, what I wanted to highlight in this forum is that we all have a responsibility and a role to play in building this future for tourism, and we have the opportunity to make this a beautiful industry of happiness. So let's envision a future where tourism supports the world to adapt and thrive. Thank you. And here's my...
Thanks so much, Alicia, for this really interesting topic about the optimal value framework. So let's move on to Antonio.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Antonio Santos. And thanks for Roberto and Eduardo and organization. It's a fantastic meeting. I am the president of the Tourism and Society think tank. It's an institution first in the 2021, who's just in the COVID. It's very important because the friends here in the meeting, I batched my concepts of the meeting on the purpose. You know? Tourism and Society think tank is currently have more than 1,058 registered member professional, institutions, university, and then a big organization in the world. Yesterday, I think we think what is the future in the tourism in the world and the Gran Canaria and the Iceland, no? The topics more important is sustainability and responsibility in two topics, especially sustainability. One moment. Yes. Yeah. Sustainability and destinations, the demand, the rent, the demand, and reduce environment and the impact, principally the travel. And two topics are very important in the next year is the technology and digital experience, principally maintaining and virtual reality, changing the use and transportation, for example, air taxi, for example, high-speed train in experience in Tokyo, in Japan, or for example, the extreme personalization of tourism experience. It's very, very important here in AE. The more important is in 2050 is a demographic and social change. Principle again of the population, mainly in so-called third world, and the growth of the middle class. The first, space tourism, neo-territorial type, normalization and hybrid tourism, commercial space travel is important, and the sea, and increasing democratization. 5 is the cultural experiential tourism, authenticity and personalization. Tourism will see the authentic and personalized experience, preferring immersion in local culture and activities that offer genuine connections with the destinations. 6, innovations and hospitality and service, smart hotels, sharing economy, and other type of the sharings. 7, new regulatory and political change. Visa policy is very important in some countries, especially in Asia and Latin America, and safety and health. 8, change in communication. What you will see is WhatsApp in 2050. It's other mode of the communication in the destination and tourism. It's important the social network and digital marketing. Social network will continue to be a crucial tool for promotion destinations and interacting with tourists allowing them more to get effective marketing. And then language and translation is in real time. 9, tourist intelligence. All implements a smart destination, real-time feedback platform, advanced analytics. And 10 is the change in regulation imbalance in tourist arrival and spending. Principal regulation and tourist flows, distributions of tourist spending, and fiscal and incentive policies. But now, y ahora lo voy a decir en español, en la discusión que tuvimos anoche, lo importante no creo que es lo que pase en el mundo, sino lo importante es lo que quiere Canarias para el 2050. Es decir, cómo se organizan ustedes, instituciones, privados, públicos, academia, para saber de dónde vienen, dónde están y lo que quieren en el futuro. Me parece que nadie desde fuera les puede indicar a ustedes qué es lo que tienen que hacer. Se les puede decir, experiencias, conocer, pero creo que es el momento ahora de saber qué va a pasar dentro de 26 años y cómo se llega allí, a ese momento. Porque tienen dos opciones, como decía Eduardo esta mañana. O matan la gallina de los huevos de oro, o siguen viviendo de ella y la van engordando, además para poder vivir mejor todos. Yo creo que esa es la clave de saber el momento de ahora y a dónde se quieren dirigir. Porque si preguntan por ahí, cada institución, cada persona, cada representante tiene un comentario diferente. Es como que todo el mundo tiene una idea y no se ponen ustedes como muy de acuerdo. Me parece que un evento como este puede ser un sitio fantástico para generar una mesa donde estén todos representados y de manera tranquila puedan saber a dónde se quieren dirigir. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Okay, thanks so much, Antonio, for the key points that are very important for stakeholders at all levels, policymakers and industry leaders. And last but not least, Professor Buhalis. So waiting for the presentation of Professor Buhalis, there is any question for Alicia or for Antonio? Just waiting for we have to wait a little bit. Okay. Yeah, there is a question over there.
Well, thank you very much. I have a question for Ms. Alicia Fajardo. So my question is, you talked about limits when you showed this framework you're using. You're trying to bringing destinations into the safe zone, no? Setting limits up and downwards. So, this word, we talk a lot about sustainability, and this word limit brings a lot of controversy, and also right now in the Canarian society, it really divides. We're either, like Mr. Antonio Santos said, we either kill the golden hen or we make it thicker and fatter. So my question is, if you're working together with these destinations and also companies, like you mentioned, how do you cope with this type of paradox when we talk about limits? And also, how do these players react when we talk about limits?
Wow, that's my answer. It's a very profound question, I believe, because in the previous discussion, I think, I don't know who was that was mentioning the thing of freedom that tourism is doing whatever you want to do. And during the last decades, and with this economic model that we have, it's capitalism, we are very much used to don't put limits to anything. And we need to put them. We need to put limits because look at the situation. Look at where we are now, where we are with climate change, where we are with the societal crisis, with the crisis with water that we are having, the equity crisis. So there's no other way than putting limits. And in our industry, we tend to avoid certain words, like limits, like degrowth. And degrowth is not killing the eggs, but it's just precisely looking at the best value that tourism brings to the place. And to be completely honest, when I started working with EasyJet Holidays and at the Trial Foundation, they told me, okay, you are going to work with them. And I said, what? But thinking about that is like it's a very good news. It's a very good news that we as a charity, as an independent organization, that we can say the things that other from the public sector or private sector cannot say, even if they think about that. We had the opportunity to tell EasyJet Holidays, you need to put limits, and these are your limits in the destination, because the destination is suffering about water availability, because there is a problem with waste management. And at least they have the information, and they have the responsibility then to decide what to do with all this information. And of course, we encourage them and we help them to put in place actions to solve these situations and to do obviously something with that. But it's encouraging. It's encouraging, challenging, but encouraging. And recently we have been working, as I said, with two of the main players at least in Spain, Iberostar, which is not only in Spain, but globally. And they are doing a super job in sustainability, even if they are a big hotel chain and with have expanded this Spanish tourism model that, let's not talk about that, but they are starting to move things, and that's at least the good news.
Thank you.
There's another question, Professor Baum. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Buenas tardes. Okay. Let's wake up a little bit. 94, back in sunny Glasgow. I was just trying to finish my PhD. And I've written a paper about what I used to call regionally degraded computer information reservation management systems. I had to say it fast. And it was really about integrated systems that will manage destinations. 30 years later, on the third edition of Tourism State of the Art, Eduardo sends me a message that says, Dimitrios, we'll do it. Where? In Tenerife? Whoa. Are you sure? Yes. Can you help? I'll do. Thank you. Vision. 30 years later, we're going from place to place talking about sustainability. We are comparing apples with oranges. We're comparing this ideal kind of situation where the environment, nobody is touching it, nobody is having any other economic activities, the world is, the employees are having fantastic jobs that someone is paying them, but they are not very active and they are not spending a lot of energy and, versus the bad tourism. And what we find now all over the world is a wave of anti-tourism. When I said to people, I'm going to Tenerife, I said, why do you go to Tenerife? They don't want tourists. It's all on the media. People are protesting, they don't want you. Why do you go to Tenerife? So we need to wake up and smell the coffee. I've been in tourism for 42 years. Started as a waiter from the age of 12. Assistant waiter. For the last 35 years, I've been researching in tourism. For the last 25 years, I've been going around the world trying to inform people and have an impact of what we do in research. And guess what's happening? We are managing tourism by photo opportunity. People are coming up in conferences like that, they open up the conference, they are congratulating each other for opening the conference, and they go home to do more important things. The reservado chairs are empty. We are not having serious conversations. We are not. Okay. So we need to wake up and smell the coffee. There are basic things that we cannot do. We still cannot put signs on the food to say what is on the food. We still cannot regulate temperatures. Very often I'm going to places where you are freezing. You go in and you are freezing. At least here we don't have plastic bottles, okay? So we really need to get serious about these things. Now, 2050. How many years away is 2050? Do you know? Anybody who knows? You see, we cannot do maths. 26 years. I'm probably not going to be around. If I continue doing what I'm doing, the possibility of being around in 2050 is very little. So I will not be accountable for what I'm going to say, and Tom is not going to say, hey, you told us at that time those things. So anyway, so this is a little bit of depressing news. If you like to connect with me, that's my digital footprint. This is the books. I've just did a renovation in my house, and I put all my books together. And I sent a picture to the Minister of Tourism in Greece, and I said, look, you're responsible for the Greek tourism, right? Have you read any of this stuff? No, none of the ministers have read any of this stuff. They're just driving blind, taking pictures, right? Photo opportunity. Anyway, a little bit of advertising. We're going to do a conference in Malta about Mediterranean tourism. Please come along to that. Then we're doing the Enter conference. Zaks is at the back. He's the president of IFIT. And he asked me to help this year in chairing again IFIT in Roslo in Poland. And then in Dijon in France 25, we're doing the Association of Marketing Science conference, and I'll be driving the marketing thing. End of advertising. So some of the big issues that we cannot resolve today, never mind about by 2050. Peace and war, poverty and food security, income inequality, diversity and inclusion, resilient societies, climate sustainability, wealth and wellness, artificial intelligence, and autonomous technology. These are the big things that research needs to address those things, that tourism needs to support those things. We've done a lot of research about how tourism is addressing the Sustainable Development Goals by opening each of the Sustainable Development Goals and looking specifically what it can do. And of course, you cannot have generalizations that tourism is bad or good or that or the other. You need to go into granularity, and you need to understand exactly what's happening, where it's happening, where's the seasonality, where's the resources, where are the issues of vulnerability. Anyway, you didn't invite me to talk about this, but at least I got your attention. Frustrated researcher here, 35 years later, we keep talking about the same things. We're doing very little. And the people who must know are not in the room. And the worst thing is that you have voted for them. And you'll vote again for them. Okay, make sure that you vote for people who are in the room. So, big things, smart tourism, ambient intelligence, artificial intelligence, metaverse, robots and autonomous. Of course I'm not going to say these things in 7 minutes, right? So you need to read the books and the articles. So we did with Zaks, what is the impact of artificial intelligence in marketing in general? We're looking into how artificial intelligence is going to transform the guest experience, and how it's going to transform intermediation, distribution, and how it will transform all the engagement of all the different players, so they'll be able to communicate in a different way. Now, a lot of people are asking me about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not about technology. It's not evolutionary. It's not the next technology. Most of my students, when they write their first essay with me, they write artificial intelligence, and in fact you can take out artificial intelligence and put technology in there and makes perfect sense. It is not like that. Artificial intelligence is revolutionary. Why? Because artificial intelligence makes decisions for you. It does not support decision making by humans. It makes decisions and progresses things. It also learns. It uses machine learning and learns from the decisions and learns of what's happening. So in that sense, it's revolutionary and it's going to change everything that we're doing. We did a big article with, for the International Journal of Information Management with many colleagues from around the world. And I was responsible to look into what ChatGPT is going to do for tourism management and marketing. Effectively, you've got two sides. You've got the tourist. And what we say on the tourist is that it's going to, your artificial intelligence agent is going to go out and look for information and makes decisions for you. For the time being, if you want to go on holiday, you're sacrificing two things. One is money, the other thing is time. And because you don't have awfully lot of time, you kind of have some preconditions, and you compromise by selecting something that you'll find quickly. Now, if you've had endless time and endless resources, you would have searched much more to identify what is actually satisfying your needs and your demands, whoever you are, what context it is. And again, I don't have the time to talk about tourism demand, but tourism demand is one of the most complicated issues to address. On the supply side, artificial intelligence will enable us to talk to everybody 24/7, scale our provision, engage with people in real time, and provide specialized, personalized, contextualized information. Now, I'll give you a quick example, because obviously we don't have a lot of time. If you ask Google right now, and most of you are asking Google, what Google typically says is, I do not know the answer, but I know all these people who know the answer. So I was asking here, I cannot see anymore, because this is a very small street. How do you go to Kalamata, where my parents are coming from, in the south of Greece? And I said, where can you go with kids in Kalamata? What can you do? So Google says, I have no idea, but I know the people who know. So these are the links that they're going to give you an answer. ChatGPT is coming back with a full comprehensive answer that's addressing a lot of different things. So that's a simple thing as far as information is concerned. I think where we'll see a lot of things is in images and collateral development. So this is Poseidon Temple on the Cape Sunio in Athens. And what happens is that people see this when they go, and they just see some ruins, right? But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to imagine what this place used to be 500,000 years ago. And of course, a lot of the images are going to be coming like this. To the degree that they are historically accurate, they'll be able to engage people, and then through metaverse, I'm going to talk in a minute, you're going to be part of this. You are not going to kind of trying to imagine what was this place about. And again, on metaverse, we're bringing together artificial intelligence, we're trying to bring augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality to bring all of those things together. What's happening is that a new ecosystem is emerging. And the new ecosystem will have the middle line, which is effectively consumer behavior with technology. And then you'll have a whole range of tourism suppliers on top that they'll provide kind of information that they've got. And then you have got a whole range of different community and peers that they're going to engage in conversation with those people in order to select the right places, in order to travel accordingly. The last thing I'm going to talk about is robots. And robots are here to stay. Robots are everywhere. And especially the more you go to Asia, you find robots there. And yes, robots were going to take jobs, but jobs that people do not want to do. I don't know anybody who really desperately wants to be a cleaner, or I don't know anybody who really desperately wants to be a pot washer. I'm having endless fights with chefs because they really enjoy cutting carrots for 8 hours a day, or they really want to do the work like that for 12 hours a day, right? Have you done a stir fry? Imagine do it as a career, and you're doing that. What's going to happen here? Exactly. So anyway, robots are coming forward, and again, there are several research that we're doing about what brings robots in, and who is responsible, and what are the criteria that they're using. What is the consumers? How are they going to engage with the robots? And why would they use robots? And the quick answer is, if they're useful, and if they're easy to use, they'll use robots. And the issue about security, information security and privacy, it's always coming like that. So Eduardo is looking at me in a funny way. So please buy the Encyclopedia of Tourist Management and Marketing that has got 3,500 pages of and 2 million words on tourism. And this is where you connect with me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Professor Buhalis, for this amazing presentation. So, any question for, I don't know, see, Professor Baum, I don't know, you had a question before?
I did have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When you look down your the benefits, if you like, of tourism, you had economic and you had employment, or the impacts, more impacts, yeah. And I think that's the traditional way we see employment, and obviously, and I think that's part of the problem, that actually employment is a social impact, and we should be measuring things like how many weekends do the kids have to spend without their parents because they're working in the hotel, and things like that. And that would be far more relevant in terms of understanding the impact. And I mean, Dimitri, you showed the SDGs, and the one that really irritates me is SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. The two are not synonymous. You can have decent work without economic growth. You can have economic growth, and you do have, without decent work. So the two should be separated off. So I think it comes back to how we use language. And I think so much of the problem, and I mean, I take your point, Dimitri, about the absence of some of the decision makers here. And that's very typical of academic conferences anyway. But it's when we sort of, I think it's almost intellectually lazy. We just accept the boxes in which people put things in, and we need to be much, much more critical. So it's more of a comment. It's not aimed at you or anything at all, but I think it's so important that we actually see things like employment and impact not just in the obvious boxes. In fact, they all link together. They all fit into they're all interlinked comprehensively.
I cannot agree more with you. Yes, because if you see our framework that we work with the destinations, it's like really systemic. And the problem that we have with the problem that the sustainability has brought is this working in silos, that this is economic sustainability, this is social sustainability, this is environmental sustainability. And these certifications and all these criteria and frameworks that is like working in boxes and ticking boxes and criteria. And it's something that the regenerative approach, the regenerative development is trying to refocus, bringing this systemic and holistic vision, and of course, employment relates to economy, but also to social and environmental, because we need to see what kind of employment they have, and etc., etc. So, I agree.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we don't have more time for questions, so let's finish with this session. Thank you so much for all the panelists, and let's talk in 1 hour. I think we start the vertical forum, right?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Big applause.